Welcome back to the M3 podcast. This week we got Ricky and Alex on from the MMG side. We got Giovanna on. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And you are the owner of Guided by G Agency. So we're going to get into that, but I want to kind of go back to where the story all started and what got you into the sports world. Because when you go through everything sports related, you're very heavy in the sports space, and that's what it's all about. So I want to know what kicked that off.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was always an athlete, and I actually wanted to be a sports statistician for ESPN, which is crazy. So I studied math and stats for the first 3 years of college. And then my parents used to call me Bang Bang from, like, Big Bang Theory. And I was like, you know what, you're kind of right. Like, it was impossible to talk to people in those classes. I was like, I'm definitely a people person. So I changed over into the marketing space, and I entered a large marketing agency headquartered in Kansas City. Learned that corporate world was just like not ideal for me, but then ended up back in corporate. And so I was working for another large corporate company in Kansas City, and I also owned a clothing line in parallel. So I was working constantly. And then I had stepped down from my company, actually, the clothing line. And 2 days later, the corporate world that I worked in called us all into a large meeting and cut 1,200 of us. So I was like, cool. So
Awesome.
I lost my identity and my income. I'm doing great. And
when was this?
This was 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, so right before.
I mean, just
the
before
vid struck. Yeah. And so then I got another, like, can I cuss on this thing?
Yes.
Okay, good.
If anybody that knows me, they know.
I'm like,
lean into it.
Yeah.
All right, well, fuck it. Okay. And then I ended up getting, like, another bullshit job, you know, that was going to pay the bills, or so I thought. And then 5 weeks later, COVID hit. I lost that job. So I had still stayed in contact with a handful of women that I brought on as brand ambassadors to my clothing line because it was a fitness apparel line. And one girl specifically, her boyfriend played in the NBA, and he was like, come down, hang out with us. We're all in Florida. And I was like,
So is this going on during COVID?
this is, yeah.
So everything shut down. You're like, hey, let's go hang out.
Yeah, you know what? I was like, I'm broke.
Yeah.
Perfect. Charge it up. And he was like, no, like, I got you. Like, we'll take care of you, whatever. So I flew private, which was the first time I'd ever flown private in my life. And I was like, I don't belong here. I don't know.
This seems expensive.
I don't know who put me in this seat, but I can barely pay my rent this month. Like, I'm collecting unemployment. So we were sitting down talking one night at a rooftop bar, and he was like, what are you going to do? And I was like, can we just not for 2 seconds? Just let me enjoy my drink. And he was really big on being more than an athlete, yada, 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 you know, business stuff. And I'm like, okay, fine. You're annoying me, but sure, let's talk. He's like, well, you're good at this, 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 and this. And she chimed in saying the same things. And I had heard the same things from people for a while, but you don't really believe, you know, that about yourself until, like, you finally feel it in yourself. And he's like, well, why don't you get into sports marketing? And I was like, okay. Like, you know, who's going to hire me?
Just jump in.
Right. Like,
just
what are you going to
jump into it?
Just,
Seems, yep.
And I'm like, hey, cool. But wait, first of all, I don't have my law degree. He's like, well, you don't need your law degree for marketing. Like, why would you do that? And I was like, okay, well, I'm running out of excuses. I'm like, who's going to hire me? He's like, you don't need anyone to hire you. Just, like, do it yourself. And I was like, okay. I have no experience. Like, I don't know how many times we got to go over this. And he's like, well, just start with me. Like, figure it out. You said you felt bad I flew you private, right? Like, make me some money back. And I was like, so how much was my seat? Like 10 grand. Damn. And, so I was like, okay. All right, perfect. I'll do that. So I went upstairs in my little bedroom in their house, and I'm like, which was not a little bedroom by any means. And I'm like DMing brands, like trying to figure out how to literally pitch this man. I'm like, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, but we're going to pretend. And I did. I pretended and figured it out, made him some money real quick. And I was like, oh, I got this. And then I got home and I started my marketing agency in general because I work solely on commission up until this point. Now I do some stuff for like Justin, which is not just commission based, a little bit retainer. So I mean, my business has quite evolved, but at the time it was commission based only. And so, you know, being an entrepreneur, you can't just like guess that you're gonna make a few grand here, a few grand there. So I was like, okay, I gotta figure out how to make like a solid income. So I started the overall like marketing services, social media, all the things, which I still offer for businesses and individuals. But yeah, so I started that, and it was just kind of one of those things. Like I got a job offer it was a 6-figure job offer, and I remember talking to my parents, and I was like, hey, should I take this job or should I start my own company? And let me preface this. My parents are also entrepreneurs. And my dad was always like, don't ever start your own company. Like, take that 401k from someone else. Like, you know, like, it's just safer. Like, as coming from a family of entrepreneurs, you see the highs and then you see you can't even get that gum this week. Like, you know, you see all of the sides of it. So I was a little hesitant. Like, you know, I'm like, do I start at $0 or 6-figure income? And so I turned down the 6-figure income and made like $350 a week for a while, working for myself, and I just kept going. But in that time frame, I'm sure you can relate as an entrepreneur, like you also give up on yourself a lot.
My deal is when I got into it, it was I had a unique position when I came in, that I had a network that was built in the industry line that I was in.
Cars, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of very heavy ties in the automotive space. And what was a little different too is I'd already done it for the marketing side for 2 years before I started. So Dre and I had a pretty dominant name in the space. And when we came out, people were just reaching out to us like, hey, can you do this for us? And I was like, yeah. And I understood sitting on the other side of the table being pitched from companies for so long at that point, what the dollar and cent that car dealers were spending. So
right. You had that market research already.
I had a very heavy dollar and cent that I was pitching people, but it was funny because we were in the car space for 6 months, and I mean, we were doing great money wise. Like I was like, yeah, I'm world's best entrepreneur, like blah, blah, blah. Like, and it's at that point you sit there and you think you have it all figured out.
Until
and
you don't.
Then it was like the car space didn't, the car space is a love-hate relationship that I have. I like it on one forefront, but then I have a lot of friends in the car world, but it's just the most, I don't want to say volatile. It's just a very up and down, emotional. It's a day by day space. There's some really big players in it that focus on quarters and years. And then there's some dealers that focus on weeks.
I mean, my dad owns a car dealership. He's a weekly basis.
Yeah. So it's like it'll just flip a switch and next week they're going to reinvent the wheel.
Yep.
And so it's just a strange world to be in. So then we had other people reaching out, wanting bids on marketing other companies. Like after we started getting some steam, and I have these like smaller businesses reaching out. I was like, yeah, we do your marketing. And they're like, oh, how much does it cost? I'm like $15,000 a month. And they're like, what? So like, that's more than I make. I was like, that's what we charge. I was like, what can you pay? And they're like, how about like $3,000? I was like, ooh, that doesn't sound like what we've been doing. And I was like, this sounds like a lot more work than what we're doing over here.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but I had a lot more like passion and joy for that we started taking on those accounts, and they're accounts that we still hold today, that we've had for 3+ years, that it's like there's appreciation to that. I never think when the phone rings from them that it's going to be like, hey, we want to pause for a while or whatever. It's like they're calling me to tell me their wins in their business. They're calling to tell me, like, so many of them been on this podcast. It's just like, it's such a great network and a group of business owners that we just like keep acquiring. And the dealerships, though, like, I mean, we had a dealership group that was over 25% increase in a 12-month span. And they call, and I'm like, dude, they're about to call and praise us. Like, that we walk on water. And like, we're going a different route with more TV and radio because the owner can't see it. I'm like, what? Like, I'm like, is this a joke? Like, I feel like this is a joke.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. Is like, there's times that I always had faith in myself. I never gave up on like what I did. Like, I always come back to like, confidence is built in the promises you keep to yourself. Like when we're sitting there and we're talking about like running, and you're like, yeah, I'm out.
No, you're
Like
a psycho.
it's like a psycho thing that I have in my head that I just want to compete against myself all the time. That it's like, where can I push that envelope that like everyone around me starts saying that like it's not possible, that I'm like, that's what I need to do. Like that is where I'm going to get my like.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying you're crazy.
But it's like,
and that's very possible.
Split the hairs here.
Yeah.
But it's like the same thing in business. I feel like when I push the envelope, I push it. If I say something and everyone around me is like, yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I'm like, it's not crazy enough. Like I need it to be crazier. I need it to where when I say it in the room, everyone's like, kind of gives me like a strange look. I'm like, that's it.
I want Alex to be kind of mad about the idea.
Yeah.
Then we know we're onto something.
If I'm not being challenged on it, then I don't think it's like far enough out there.
Well, so the problem I had with that is I never had a room. It was literally just me. So like just up until recently, I just hired a team, which thank God. But you know, for almost 4 years, it was just me. And so, and it's not, I work in a field that not really many people can totally relate to. And honestly, no one showed me what I was doing. So I am just like the blind leading the blind myself. And I'm just figuring it out, you know? And so like, obviously I knew a little bit of like, I worked in advertising. So I understood that space, but it's like, I had no idea. And I was just like navigating it myself. And then like, you get to the point where you have imposter syndrome and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Does creep in
pretty fast.
And it creeps in hard. And then you don't have anyone around. Like your friends and your family are always supporting you, which love you guys. Thank you. But you're like, okay, shut up. You're just saying that because you're my support system and you're supposed to. But it's like, you know, when you're not seeing the income and you're not seeing the results and everyone's like, oh, Giovanna, you're like this master connector. You're this master networker. You're all these things. I'm like, great, but when the fuck is it going to pay? Like, you know, and so then I'm like, I'm broke. Every day I'm broke. You're broke for 3 years. And you're like, well, this isn't what I'm supposed to do, obviously. So I would start like interviewing and applying at all these other places. And weird, I wouldn't get those jobs. And it's like, well, you're not really in alignment. It sounds like what you do is way cooler than what we have. And then they just wouldn't hire me. And I'm like, damn, okay. And then I like, you know, it's hard. It's really hard to get in the routine of things. And then it was like, I decided in 2022 to shut down my company.
Okay.
And it was one of those things where I was like, I'm not making money consistently enough, right? Like I could pay my rent, I could do this, but it was like I'm 32 now. So like I was late 20s and well actually, oh my God, it was 30. And it was like you know, my friends are making money. They're entering that age. I have older friends and they're like traveling the world and I'm like, I don't even know if I can go out to eat tonight. Like, you know, so it was different. And it's an entrepreneur's world. And then my brother got diagnosed terminally ill. So, and when my brother got sick, I was like, honestly, I don't have the mental capacity to fight for my paycheck every single day. I just don't. Like, it was one of those things where I was like, I literally, my forehead felt bruised. I was crying. So I'm not an emotional person. I was crying constantly. Like, it was the worst news we've ever received in our lives. And I was like, I don't have it. I just don't have it in me. And it was so weird. Like I said, I was planning to shut the doors. I was applying. I literally applied to like, I'm not even kidding, probably 150 jobs in 2 weeks. And I had a random DM from an athlete who I work with now. And he had messaged me and he was like, hey, G, I see you work with X, Y, and Z. Do you know any photographers that can shoot my clothing line? And in my head, I am a little bitchy. And I'm like, are a professional athlete. You could message any photographer and they'll one probably do it or two like give you a rate and I don't work for you. So it was like I was in just a weird headspace, right? Like this was like a week after my brother's diagnosis. And so finally I messaged back and I was like, hey, like I know this place. And at the time I had like kind of represented them. So they paid me a kickback when I would help book them. And so I'm like, well, at least I'll get a paycheck there. And so I passed him that way. Not that I love this athlete. And I just didn't know him well. So I was like, you know, I'll help him, but I just don't know who he is. And I think we'd said 2 words to each other in passing twice in our lives. And so then I made the introduction. They both were like, do you want to be on the call? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no. I was on a flight that morning. And when I landed, I had a text from the creative director from that company. And then I had a DM from Lucas. And the creative director was like, thank you so much for connecting us. We're going to work together, blah, blah, blah. And Lucas was like, hey, G, thanks so much for setting that up. We're going to work with them. I appreciate you. And Lucas is a great guy, by the way. Like I was just a brat in that moment in my life. And then the company tells me, by the way, we're going to do this pro bono. And I was like, I was supposed to make money there. So,
now you tell me.
Awesome.
Now it's free. Yeah.
I was like, oh, because he's the athlete, you know? And so then they were like, it's actually for an ALS campaign, which is what my brother was diagnosed with in November of 22. And this was December of 22. And I was like, what? And he said, yeah. And then I ended up messaging Lucas and I was like, hey, I just heard about this. Please, like, let me know how I can get involved, whatever. My brother just got diagnosed a few weeks ago. And he messaged me back. He's like, oh my God, Giovanna, what's your phone number? Like, let me call you. He called me and I literally bawled my eyes out to him for like an hour. And then we started talking constantly about how I could help with this campaign. His company's called Vogue, and they did this Just Keep Swinging campaign because his business partner's dad had ALS, unfortunately passed away in October of last year. But yeah, so I got super involved with him, and then he ended up asking me to run his marketing and be his agent in that. And that was, for time frame, that was like January of 23. And from then, it was like just a snowball effect. And I started working with him. He like reignited my love for what I do. And then like, so ultimately, I guess it's my brother's fault that I didn't quit. It like got scared, and then I leave it to him for like reigniting my company and Lucas. And ever since then, the ball just started rolling, and I started working with all of these athletes all over, and one person heard about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And now I have a client list of 19 athletes alone.
I will say it's pretty like crazy how the world like works and puts you in a spot exactly where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. And it's like,
humbling.
You can ask all them. Like I live for it. Like when I see it, I recognize it.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're here for a reason. And it's like, it's crazy how the connections and like the amount of companies we work with now, and like that we end up involved in something, and it's just like how the circle comes all the way back around. And it's cool when you listen to people's stories, and it's like when the podcast first started, we talked about marketing all the time, and it's like people didn't really care for that side of it. They cared about the
people behind the brands.
And that's what it is. And it's something that people always have these stories. People always have that ignition that comes at some point. That mine was one conversation. Mine was something that I came to the end. I'd found the ceiling. I didn't see what the next 10 years looked like. It was like the first time in my life I couldn't see forward. And it was like probably one of the hardest things I've ever experienced in my life. Like I feel like I've always been a visionary. Like I've always just had this like grand plan of what life was supposed to look like. And no matter how I tried to figure it at that point, I didn't get there.
Yeah.
But it's like, and then I step out, and 2 days after I leave the car world, the whole country closes down. I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. I was like, I am an idiot. And Dre's like, yeah, I'm still up at the store. We're working with the lights off, so no one knows that we're open. He's like, and they're figuring it all out, allegedly. So he's up there working. He's like, dude, I'm making more money than I've ever made. I'm sitting at home in my lawn chair drinking Busch Light. I'm like, I really botched this deal. But it was like sitting there. I was like, do I put out that we have a company now? Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But it's like, after it like started rolling, it was just like, I've always been like the follower of like good things happen to good people. Like no matter what situation you get in, make the decision I always take finances out of everything. Like most people look at a deal and they're like, financially, this is what you should do. I'm like, best for the people around me is this. And they're like, well, where does that lead? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I just feel like that's the right thing to do. Like, and it's like, I feel like it definitely puts you in hard spots. There's definitely better financial decisions I could have made along the way.
Same. Ask my credit card.
But it's like doing the right thing for the people around you as you're moving, and doing the right thing for people that you work with. Like, I think that speaks volumes. And that's why when you get one client, it turns into 2 clients, turns into 5 clients, turns into 10 to 19.
Yeah. No, for sure. And that's the thing. And I'm like I'm super grateful. I've never had to ask an athlete to work with them. It was like they heard about this and they heard about that, and they reached out to me. I'm sorry, I'm sitting far back.
You're all right. You're all right.
I'm not retelling any story though. I'm just like a little nugget, working on my posture here. Good.
But yeah, Alex just rudely interrupted you.
Yeah, way to go. I don't remember where I was at, and I feel like it was a really good point.
You were onto a good point. Don't
Yeah.
blame me. You're the one that's like
No,
leaning back. You're like,
But
definitely-
Fat Joe,
I've
just
been
lean
on
back.
a million flights in a week, and my back hurts.
Oh,
No.
man.
That's actually not a lie. I need an adjustment.
I was going to say, you were just on a 12-day trip,
Basically, yeah.
Going
I mean, I
across
was
country, you went to,
5
what,
cities
5?
in 11 days.
including your birthday was spent on a flight.
Plane.
At least you got lunch.
I did. I did do that. And a Delta $12 coupon.
Hey, listen, shout out Delta.
Fuck Delta. I'll never fly them again.
What? Oh, I am a Delta stan.
That's going to be the real
Yeah.
of this. Is we're pulling that up. I'm at Delta.
I am a
No,
Delta stan.
honestly, fuck
We will
Delta.
fight
No,
we will fight.
They left me stranded.
They left you.
Yeah.
You called up Delta CEO and he said, "Suck
Oh,
it."
100%. And
Yeah.
it, like our whole
She
flight
called him.
for 8 hours. Yeah, I said, fuck you, Delta CEO.
And what would an American done? They would have done that and lost your bags.
Oh, for sure. I did not say I am not on American side. I refuse to fly American.
We
Wait,
don't
so
have
you're
a lot
not on
of
the
options
American
left.
side.
Southwest, baby.
That's the worst of all of
my
them.
And how many times have you
Worst.
been delayed on a Southwest flight?
And Joyce sitting in the
Back
middle
to
row
all of
because
them.
you didn't check in on time.
A-list,
And Delta,
baby. Fly
I can,
A-list. Fly A-list.
I can take my
You want my
superiority
status? Too bad.
complex and I will pay extra to sit where I want to sit.
Delta can kiss my ass with their $12 lunch coupon. You can't even buy a water bottle.
Yeah, I don't really like the whole Southwest like jockeying that everyone
That's
runs
what
on
I'm
the fucking
saying.
plane. I like
No,
to
no,
get
no.
my what?
You get a little, you get where you're supposed to
Yeah.
go. You line up.
And there's always
you
some
sit
lady.
down.
She's like, "Sir, what number are you?" I'm like, "Man, do you see how scrunched we are?" I'm like, "I'm fucking 15." She's like, then to the person
then
right
pay
behind
for
me.
the
"Man,
A-list.
I am. I'm always like A15, like A.
Then why does it matter? Just be like, bitch, get behind me.
Yeah. Then she's like going down every single person. Like, then she's like the
That
lady
sounds
saying,
like a her problem. That's not Southwest problem.
"Yeah, you know what? When I fly Delta or American and I have like priority pass or whatever, I'm getting on like the plane first. I go sit down. I get a drink. I
Well,
get my-
you might have to go get a drink in the bar because they leave you stranded for 8 hours on your birthday and give you a $12 coupon that had to be used that day.
But
Has Southwest left you stranded, Dre?
My
At least
bags,
you
got
my
your
bags were
Yes, they
redeemed.
did.
Your bags
They called
made
Dre
it.
At 3:00 in the morning, just canceled his flight
Who?
on New Year's Day.
You're fine. You
That
got
one
it.
time of how
Yeah.
many times? I have flown 30 times Southwest this year and I've not been canceled or anything. American, on the other hand, Delta?
Did 60 Delta flights my last time that I was traveling all the time. Never once had that issue.
I like
This
Delta.
really took
60
I like
Delta
Delta.
flights in 1 year.
No, I
Never
will
had
not.
that Delta
I actually
card.
refuse now. And I called them to bitch about it because they're like, "Oh, you
I
should
bet they were
complain."
ready to hear
I missed
that.
my own birthday dinner for that.
I bet they totally took that.
Delta, you kiss
Yeah.
my ass. No, and I called them and they were like,
Delta, I like your card. We're doing great over here. I'm
Delta,
on-
I have 2 of your cards. I love you.
"No, Delta, no,
Yeah.
absolutely not. No,
She's on an island of her own.
they
Southwest,
gave me
fuck you.
3,000 points and a $12 lunch coupon that expired if you didn't use it that day. Like, what a smack in the fucking face.
3,000 points is gonna get you 1/10 of
Of the one way.
of a local flight.
Yeah, no, this is kiss my ass.
Well, we really got off. We really got off the tarmac
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, Alex really,
Woo, good
Alex
one.
Man.
really derailed that whole thing and on the mic. But you were onto a
Clearly,
good
sure.
topic, and then we got to
I think I
targeting
remember
airlines.
the top. I think I dropped a pin. I
Okay,
think I
you
got
got
it.
There
yeah.
you go.
she's
Yeah.
back.
I think
We just need
Dropped
to
a-
refuel
dropped
there.
a pin.
I think I do remember where I was going. Oh, I do remember. I said I haven't asked any athletes to work with me.
Yep, that's
It's
where
all
we're
been. Ask me tomorrow to come up with some shit, and I will never remember
Yeah.
that.
Here's what's gonna happen though. This is gonna the podcast is gonna end. And we're like, what'd you talk about? You're like, honestly, I blacked
Delta.
out. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I know we talked about
I
Delta.
do know I told Delta to fuck off.
I did 100 times.
Delta's coming for my throat.
I'm like adding them.
Yeah.
No, but it's been really, really nice. Actually, the craziest one was when I got the text message from Justin Reed a week after they won the back-to-back Super Bowl. It said, "Hey, Giovanna, this is Justin Reed of the Kansas City Chiefs," as if I don't know who he is. I'm
Right, like I can't click on see profile.
I'm like, LOL. No, he texted me. Someone gave him my
Oh.
number. And I was like,
You said the AT&T subscriber you're trying to reach is no longer in service.
I was like, wrong number, who dis? No, but I mean, it's been awesome. And it's just been like one of those things that they say, like, when you love what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. And when you're on the right path, it'll all come to you. And you're like, on the other side of it, you're like, bullshit. I don't believe it.
I'm still kind of calling bullshit. Like,
no, I'm there now. I'm finally like, for the first time ever, I'm confident. I have no imposter syndrome. I know what the hell I'm doing. Not that I didn't know what I was doing ever, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like I'm in my space. I know that I'm supposed to be there. And it's like, it's scary now. I'm like, look out, I'm confident.
Which I do think it's something when you do it like your own way.
Yeah.
Like when I got into marketing, it was funny how many people asked me about a marketing degree. And I was like, yeah.
I actually have that.
I actually do. I have a geology degree. So
it was math and stats. Geology, you studied rocks?
Yeah.
Physics.
What a nerd. You have a math degree. You're doing
I were geology and physics.
You're doing math and stats over here. You call him a nerd?
Yeah.
I had a rock teacher in college, and it was so nerdy.
Yeah. So.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's what we went to school for. But we'll go on.
What'd you go?
Yeah.
What? PR and marketing.
What a loser.
Yeah. Lame.
He's not that smart. What'd you study?
Clearly had a bad GPA.
I dropped out to sell cars.
Good for you.
I should.
You made a lot more money than people that graduated and went into marketing making 30 grand and out of college. I promise you that.
That's true.
My sister had me like 6 times what my income was by the time she was 21, and I'm like 23, just graduated college. I'm like, oh yeah, 38 grand. The fuck?
Come again?
What did I come here for?
Yeah.
And now I work for myself. No one would have ever known. I could have forged the shit out of that.
100%.
I've never had somebody
Maybe I'll
ask
make
even to
myself
see
a
my
master's
degree.
real quick.
Yeah.
I think you just write them up,
I'm
put
a
it on
PhD.
the walls. Yeah, somebody's gonna see it.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's funny when you get into it that like I jumped into it, and the funny thing was when we got into the ad space, in the car world, it was just there was no content being done. So we were doing like all these like videos and photos, which was like super unique. And around here, at least, like I feel like I have a magic computer that shows me what's happening on the coast of the country. Nobody else does anything here. So then I'm like, okay, we're running these videos, and we just clicked boost on like every Facebook post, and we were just like running ads, and you saw them everywhere. We just clicked like Liberty, and we'd have dealers in like Liberty, and we're like, run all these ads. And I'm like, what's a good marketing message we can put to somebody like up the street to get them to come down? Where it's like super basic marketing. And then we get in a meeting, it's probably 4 months after we open, and they're like, what's like the analytics look like an ad manager? I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, your analytics and ads manager. I'm like,
what's that? Who's that?
I go,
I don't have an ads
I
manager.
go, if I click on the post, it'll show me that we've reached a lot of people. And I'm like going through this. I'm like, you guys sell every car that we post within like 2 weeks of us posting. It's working.
Yeah, what do you care?
I was like, that the rest doesn't matter. Yeah, rest doesn't matter. But we sit there, and then we're at home. We're like, ads, Facebook ads manager. I'm like, whoa, what is this? I'm like, this looks like foreign language.
Literally, though.
We're working on like YouTube videos, stuff like that, teaching ourselves how to do it all. And
like that math problem to unlock
pretty
your
much.
phone. Yeah.
But it was pretty much like it was funny how it evolved into us doing it our way, that we weren't doing it anyone else's way. Mm-hmm. I see so many people that get into marketing that like, well, this person does it this way, so I do it the exact same. I'm like, that person's not very successful, so I'm assuming you're not going to be very successful. I'm like, but it's like doing the same thing that every single other person is doing and expecting different results.
Insanity.
It is insanity. It's like, it is crazy watching
my softball coach used to tell me that.
Yep.
Our dad told us that our whole entire lives.
Yep.
And I watched him marketing over and over and over, and I saw the void was so big. And just from the business world, and then like the sports world, like when you came in, like athletes need what you have, just like businesses need what we have. Like they need it so bad. They have Willy Wonka's golden ticket to opportunity right now.
And so many are so unaware.
Yeah.
I did a signing for one of my athletes the other day, and I sent him the money, and he called me. He's like, what did you send me all that for? I was like, is that your appearance fee? And he was like, oh, I have one of those? I'm like, oh my God.
Like you just showed up for free?
What? I'm not outing him, but
yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. Like
I got your client list right here.
Yep.
Blink twice when I get.
He's not on there.
Blink twice when I get to his name.
I haven't listed him yet.
Yeah.
He's not worthy.
Well,
no,
so now we know who it is when you.
Still not. Nope, you don't know. No, but it maybe. Damn it. But yeah. I mean, they're so. Some of them are so unaware of the value that they bring, and luckily for me and the sports world, people idolizing athletes is great. I don't see them as any different, than the average human. But thank God, people do. And they are obviously like what their expertise is at is like literally our form of entertainment. And I love that because I live and breathe sports. Like I watch football, I watch all these shows constantly, all day, every day. So I guess kind of I love sports, but the way that people idolize them is the way I make money. So thank God. But
see, I'm like
they just don't realize that they're that.
I'm like the weird person that attention is so valuable in today's world, and like so many people idolize athletes. Like I would never I don't care who you put here. You couldn't put an athlete in front of me that I'd like fanboy.
Yeah.
People are like, oh my God, that's like so and so. Like
if you put Usher in front of me, we might have to talk. But he's not an athlete.
I was at a concert where I'm trying to remember what concert we were at, but we're at T-Mobile. We're down on the floor, and I go back to like the bar thing, and there's this guy standing there. I'm like looking at him. Dude's like keep like staring at each other. I'm like, is this dude trying to start shit? I'm like, what's this dude's deal? And I'm like sitting there and like we're getting drinks and stuff, and Madison's looking at me weird. I'm like, I know this guy's fucking looking at me. I was like, I'm like, this dude's gonna start some shit. And we walk off. She's like, that was Alex Gordon. I was like, I totally didn't recognize him. I was like, I didn't know. I was like,
so in summary, you and Alex Gordon have beef.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there. I think I was looking.
Yes.
He was like looking at me. I think he was waiting for me to say something, like knowing who he was. I was just looking at him like, why are you looking at me?
This man keeps staring at me.
But it was just like funny that like I don't look at like athletes that way. I just look at it as like, okay, you were gifted to play a sport. That's great.
No, right. But
it's
like good for you.
I'm very like phenomenal. Like I want everyone to win. Same. But then it's like when I meet like really high level CEOs.
Except for the Bengals.
Yeah, except for them.
Fuck
except for Joe Burrow.
Yeah, fuck that guy for sure.
Everyone, like when I meet a really high level like business person that's went from like ground zero all the way up, that's like this Monday I was at a guy's house, just mansion of a place. And he was like, when I sat down with him, he had 200% of my attention. That I was like, if I can learn one thing from this guy while I'm here is like the value points that he can bring. Like I've been around athletes and like pro athletes and stuff like that. I've been at tables with him and I'm sitting there, I'm like,
You know what?
And there's some of them though that are super smart.
Yeah.
Some of them though that like just go burn money. I'm like, it's a good thing you can play a sport.
Well, but not long enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's also the thing too, though. That's really cool. Is that you have a portfolio of athletes, but then one thing that you and I have talked about a lot is building what does their life look like after they retire.
Yeah.
But then also showcasing that your athletes do things outside of just being athletes.
Oh my God.
They're involved in philanthropies. They have hobbies. They have interests. They have all these other
too
things,
busy.
like different layers to that onion. And that's also what was really cool is that another piece of what connected us is the fact that Justin now has a partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Big Brothers Big Sisters being one of the things that we support, us doing marketing for them, and you trying to showcase more of like, hey, Justin has all these things that he does, but all you see of him is I'm a phenomenal athlete.
Right. And for sure, that's like one of my biggest things is I'm very fortunate that my athletes all are amazing people in general. Like, and they're all really smart. I mean, I have a handful of Stanford grads. Like, I'm like, come on now. We look stupid. But, but like, I'm very fortunate.
Do you call them nerds too? Do you attack?
Oh, for sure. Justin
okay,
is
but
like
he's actually
a
an
literal
engineer.
nerd. Yeah. Like, I mean, he likes anime. But,
Look at my podcast. Whoa.
Catching strays over here to the anime community. We're sorry. We did not know she was going to come shooting at you for no reason.
I mean, it's like kind of
just hard
nerdy.
targeting their nerds.
Maybe cut that.
The list of people being called nerds today. Do you like math? Do you like rocks? Do you like anime? No. You don't get to back off of your points now. Do you like Delta? Do you like American? Southwest only.
I'm not judgmental.
Not at all. No.
And my forehead can't move because I have Botox, so you'll never know.
Shout out.
No, like it is very, very important to me to showcase my athletes in a different light other than their sport, right? They are phenomenal athletes, and that is where our bread and butter is. However, all of my athletes are phenomenal people. So what I try to do and what I've done a lot with my business and I think why it's been so successful is I've put my athletes in the communities that they're in and making them appear there, not making them, they want to, but like creating these appearance opportunities for them, getting them heavily involved, then the people in their communities start to get to know them better. And obviously when you know people out on the field, you want to support that team even more, right? So you put these people, you make them more relatable, and whether that's in an actual event or that's on their social media, which, like, you know, what we're working on with Justin is we are portraying him as more than what he is, because he is prominently football on his social media, but he does have so much more to offer. And I mean, that's just athletes in general. They really kind of try to stay off social media and posting, and I get it.
Would you say that, like, this is something I struggle with too? Because if you go look on social media, you're never going to find me doing anything. Like, the Big Brothers Big Sisters is the first thing that's touched social media. But I've always been very heavily involved in different things like that. Like, I worked with the Special Olympics for a long time.
So post.
But it's like,
oh, crazy.
Even the CEO is telling him post it.
It's like,
yeah.
I can see it from their spot too. It's like, I've always done that as just doing the right thing. I've never done it as like, because there's certain people I see that all they post is that stuff. And
but that's why that's my job, is to help them, because you don't want to be selfish, right? And you're like, oh, well, I'm doing this for like the good. Yeah. But like, as I being a brand manager and trying to get these brand opportunities for my athletes, it's like, hey, like, I know you want to do it for the good, but there's more to you, and people will respect you more, and you can be more relatable if you're actually showing what kind of person you are. And you know more than anyone, like, people out there can be so mean to athletes. They're like, I get called
fat on YouTube like 4 or 5 times a week. It's pretty average. I have not been called a nerd yet, though. That is a first.
And at least it was face to face.
At
least it was face to face.
Something episodes in, and
I
that was a first.
So not a phony person. I will be completely honest, and my friends will tell you I am blatantly honest.
YouTube's a brutal world out there.
But no, social media in general is, and so like a lot of them stay off social media, and like they just or like, especially after a game, like maybe they dropped a pass or maybe they missed a pass, and they're just like scrutinized for that, which is sad, because it's like, everyone, you can't make every single play. Do you do every single thing right every single day at work? No,
absolutely.
you fuck up a lot.
We lean into the fact that we get shit
I mess
wrong
up
a lot.
constantly, and that's how I got where I'm at, and that's like the athletes are too, but they're so highlighted, and so like they're afraid to get that pushback on social media and whatnot. So I get it, but that's why like getting them these brand opportunities and showing who they are. But when you showcase who they are, more brands are more apt to partner with them, because they're like, oh, we love who that person is and what they represent. So I just gave you the secret sauce, but you have to like,
which the thing is,
who
like,
they are.
Got her. Shut it down.
Podcast is over.
Cameras weren't even on.
Go be broke for 4 years and then call me.
No, but I think that's just in marketing in general, you can tell people how it's done.
No, they just have to do it.
If people wanted to know how to market, like, they could go listen to our podcast, and we have sat here and talked to business owners on what we do marketing strategy wise, like all this stuff. You can give people all of the resources. It's just like fitness. You can give somebody a diet plan. You can give people everything to go get fit, but how many people actually go do it? Like, I mean, I'm guilty of it. Like, I'm the first one. Like, you put brownies in front of me, zero self-control. Like, none.
I don't have treats at my house because hello.
Yeah, Madison just makes it to where I live kind of like it's like a prison sometimes, like where I try to get snacks. And
She's
I'm
like portion.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm trading the dog stuff for some treats today, guys. I got no snacks, but.
He goes to the bathroom, he comes out, and she's like, here's your treat.
Yeah.
Well, also keep in mind, though, you've seen the dinners that she makes
yeah,
now.
You're not.
Yeah, hurting. I'm not starving, so I'm not saying that. I like a snack here and there.
Not starving, but don't
no comments on the YouTube post. No comments on the YouTube post.
I don't need to be targeted for that. My bad. But no, it's the same thing like fitness. Everyone out there has access to go get a fitness plan online now.
Right.
They have access to go figure out a workout online, but that doesn't mean they can do it. Business owners have the same thing at their fingertips. They can go do the research online and figure out how marketing works. But the thing is, most of them aren't creative enough to figure out what the pain points are of who they're trying to go after. That from the athlete position, I think making them more of a human. It's the same thing when Ricky and I went out to Utah to meet with all these big, huge, bigger than life social media, just big CEOs. I mean, a lot of huge players in the space. And they're so big that it seems like it's unattainable to be there. That I told Ricky when we went there, that I was like, there's one guy that I was like, I really want to be. He's like, why do you want to meet him? Like, he's probably the smallest guy there. I'm like, he's the closest one to where we're at. I was like, he's the one that I feel like if I get anything from, it's going to be him. I'm like, because these other guys will say stuff and they're like, yeah, if you just like if you push like 2.5 million at this over here, I'm like, yeah, you shit that out in the morning. Like, sounds great.
Literally.
Just wake
like,
up and piss excellence, you know?
Like, there will be a day though that I always try to keep in like relevance too, that when we're talking to smaller business owners, that I was in that position at one point, that it was a lot harder move. That now it's like when we're talking to companies and we're sitting there, we're like talking 25, 30 grand. We're like, oh, that's not a big deal. Like, just spend it. And like, there was a point though that like when I was looking at like $1,000 in ad spend or $2,000 in ad spend a month on our own stuff,
You're like, I don't think so. Yeah.
like, that's gonna be tight. So it's just like there's levels to all of it, and it's like I think sometimes athletes online just post what they do on the field, and then it's like
so what they know, and it's what they're comfortable showcasing.
exactly. They've been really good at it their whole lives.
Yeah.
To where it's something that when they go out there, it's most time the content's a lot easier to acquire, and then it's
for sure.
Then it's like, that's something that they already know people accept them for. So the fear of failure on that is very low. The fear of failure of going out and putting yourself out there to like, do people actually like my personality? When I started the podcast, I was like, this was the most fearful thing I've ever done since I started MMG.
I just said I was scared to sit down with you guys.
But it's like where people.
This is where you tell me I have a good personality.
Yeah.
I'm just
but it's like.
So, anyways,
we'll skip that question.
Circle back.
But it's like that was something I was more fearful of, like business wise. I could do the exactly what's on market, and if that was like good enough, and like that's what people would recognize me for. But then like once we started the podcast, I'm like, okay, people are gonna. I'm talking for an hour with somebody, like they're gonna start seeing the real me. But it's like some people liked it, some people didn't. Like I had people that I knew that they're like, you're like too aggressive in business. I'm like, and then at that point I'm like second guessing myself. I'm like, oh, am I like too aggressive? I'm like running too hard into it. Like, I don't know. And then today we're sitting there in an office. I'm like, you know what, guys? I'm like, we're doubling down on this. I'm like, we are going to become the most aggressive marketing company because I'm like, the people that we're partnered with like that the most about us. It's our best trait. I'm like, but there's people in the marketing space that we've really had like dog on us so hard. I'm like, you know what? Jealousy speaks really loud. I go, when you're failing over there and you're laying people off and we're hiring people as fast as we possibly can, I go, the market speaks for itself. But it's just like, I think that personality side and putting yourself out there is a very, very unique waters to navigate because most people haven't done it. And when we work with companies, the first thing we tell every single business owner is we're about to make them really uncomfortable. And most of the time they're like, why? I'm like, you're going on camera. And they're always like, no, we're not. I'm like, if you're working with us, yes, you are.
I think my only athlete that is like pumped to be on camera is Lo. She's like,
oh yeah. I mean, she was built for the camera.
Oh, she's built for it.
And I think that's when you start putting people out there, and it's in the early days, I can jump on camera now and shoot content all day. And one takes driving in the truck in the morning, things like that. It just became easy. But like,
still not me.
It's taken a lot. It's doing podcasts every week for 130 plus episodes. It's doing taco reviews now every week for 90 plus weeks. It's doing whiskey reviews. It's doing all these different things, doing ads, doing I think
strength tests.
Yeah. The thing that actually helped, I think, the most on just like off the cuff ability to jump on camera, it was doing the Instagram stories, driving in and work. Like having absolutely no direction of where I was going with it. A year ago when I started, I leave Liberty and hopefully by the River Market, I got one that worked. Like
I love that though.
But it was like, it was the most uncomfortable thing I did all day. I was like, to knock that out before I ever even showed up at work. When I got to work, I felt pretty accomplished. I'm like, I made it to the gym this morning. I've done like all this stuff. I've sat in the sauna and I hit a story.
Talked to my phone for 15 seconds.
Yeah. I talked to my phone for like 30
25
minutes.
times until I found the one that was 17 seconds.
But I documented 15 seconds and you're all going to see it.
It's funny in the early days I'd post those and even like, it was probably 90, 120 days in. I had somebody, they're like, how do you just hit those every morning? Like right when you drive in, I was like, you think I just hit those like one take? Like now it's like one or two, like it's pretty easy now. But so I started like, sometimes I take a screenshot of my phone that's just all these like videos. Like the whole entire camera was full.
You're like
I'd post it. I'm like, if you think this is easy to do every morning, and it was amazing the amount of people that reach out off of those. Like
But
after
it's
the story.
vulnerability. It's like
I
showing
texted you
what
about
it
that
is
too.
back-
Yeah.
behind the scenes. That's like Lo and I filmed a commercial the other day. We were there for an hour, and they used 3 seconds of her, literally 3 seconds. And I was like, man, we got the rate, I guess.
Yeah,
But like, it's so you do so much until you get that right.
And I think it's also something that in
People
the-
don't realize that.
the social media
Yes,
world,
they
I
don't.
think
They don't. They think that it's like you just show up, you got
Like,
that
oh,
3
3
seconds,
seconds?
and
Got
then you
it.
left in 5 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're like-
and it's funny now we'll like shoot ads and stuff, and I was always like Ricky was phenomenal at it from the beginning. Like Ricky started filming like 7th grade.
So I started YouTube when I was like 12. So I had just been doing it for a really long time.
Yeah.
I went through those
12?
awkward stages. Yeah, we were young. Central Kansas, there wasn't a lot to do. So
God.
How long did it take you for those YouTube videos to upload in Central
No, that's
Forever.
like, did you have like
Kansas?
There's
dial-up. That's what I'm
They're
saying.
still
Does that say we're
processing.
old?
Yes. Ding,
Are we older than
ding,
you?
ding. Okay. Well,
how old
Yeah.
do you think I am?
I'm just gonna guess my age because you said that. No, maybe like 27.
28?
yeah, we're the oldest two.
He
Here.
looks
Yeah.
young.
I'm younger than you guys too.
We're the
Is he
oldest
really?
two. We're the oldest two.
Yeah.
Here.
All right, I gotta wait.
We knew we'd find a moment for
Yeah.
that.
Damn. Are you older than me though?
Yeah,
All right, Grandpa,
I
calm down.
turned 32 in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But so
Then
just,
I'm the oldest.
wait, what?
I just turned 32 on Monday.
Dang, that's
Dang.
so embarrassing for you.
Well, this is just kind of awkward.
Yeah. Get her.
But
Will you come refill my glass?
mine too, Dre, if you don't mind.
Take care of the elderly.
Yeah.
The elderly, yes. Side note, there is a name for what it's called. It's called systematic desensitization. So
What was that? Come again? Can you say that
systematic
one more time?
desensitization.
Fucking nerd.
That was
Yeah.
not.
That's the theme of the
That wasn't
podcast.
in the rocks degree.
Yeah.
Fucking
That was not in
nerds.
any of my books I read in college.
Okay.
I'm gonna find my geology teacher in college, and I'm gonna send you a photo. You look nothing alike, but
I
that's
would
gonna be your
hope not.
contact photo in my phone now.
So basically, the idea here, though, is that if you have an issue with something, right, to where they do this with people who have like phobias, but the same if you have like
People
a
call you
fear,
old.
like a fear of heights, fear of public speaking, you become desensitized to it by you make a system of consistently doing that thing. So my first time public speaking, 7th grade, hands are shaking, my voice is cracking, not just because I had
That was
hit puberty.
That was puberty.
My eyes are watering, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm never going to be able to do public
I
speaking."
can't do public
But
speaking.
then I got a job where it was every single day I had to talk to groups in front of them, and then through that you become more and more desensitized to it, and you build a system to where every single day, every single month, whatever it is, you build a routine, and then by the end of that, eventually that thing that brought you to tears or shaking. Eventually, at that point, you're like, I'm confident I can lean into this because I'm desensitized to it because I create a system to get over that.
How long do you think that takes in social media as a whole till people like for the longest time I cared about like every time that somebody like Steve 6969 with no profile picture would say I was like a fat shit or something on YouTube, and I was like, whoa,
Steve
bro.
6969 is crazy.
It was always some stupid ass like
Right.
first one.
Steve
They can only be so creative too.
69.
It's 420,
Yeah.
69.
I mean,
yes.
they all have the same numbers on it.
Right.
But it's like, it used to like, I would sit there and I'd be in bed at night and I had like YouTube
Yeah.
notifications on it, and I get them like our shorts would take off, and then I'd just be like, dude, that's brutal.
You'd read the comments.
Yeah.
It's
But
reframing.
it's like, are they paying your bills?
It's reframing.
No. So then it's
Actually,
like, actually,
kind of,
they're
yes.
helping you.
Yeah.
That's
Go
what I'm
ahead.
saying.
Keep
Thank you for the
commenting.
engagement.
Keep
So,
commenting
thank you for the
69, 69.
But it was actually, it finally came to a point, like in the early days, it did kind of suck. Like,
Of course. Of
but
course.
then
It hurts.
after it kind of progressed, I was like, why the fuck do I care what these people think? I was like, I don't even know this. This guy doesn't even have a profile picture.
Definitely eating
He's-
Chips Ahoy in bed.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
And that's
also
his
could have
thing.
been eat Chips Ahoy in bed.
Yeah. But I did it after making
I'm
the
like, oh my
post.
God, are we doing the same thing right now? This dude's an asshole.
We could be friends. We could be friends.
Yeah. If you weren't such a dick, we could be friends.
It's
Wait, what's that
reframing
mean?
it.
What's that mean? Where it's like, this could be us, but you play it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Wait.
you're reframing it though, right? Because then you can sit there and say like, "Hey, this thing sucked." But let's think about it seriously. Hey, this person was talking shit on me. Would I want to switch places with this person? If you're like,
I
this
don't know. He has
person's
no profile picture.
well, yeah,
No.
exactly, probably for a reason. But like when it comes to even like in real life interactions, when
That's
people
probably like a
have
12-year-old
interactions,
girl.
Yeah.
yeah,
Why?
people have interactions with me, and then they like talk some kind of way to me, and they're like just super disrespectful or something. to me, I don't let it bother me because I know I wouldn't want to trade places with that person. Or if they have something disrespectful to say about what I choose, I'm like, I wouldn't take advice from that person because
Like,
I
that's
don't think
just
they have
the higher
mindfulness
road.
about it.
So I've just never really
He's
been
nicer
somebody
than me.
like, I've never really cared to be like mean to people, and like I'm never gonna like target somebody for like personal attributes. Like that's how somebody's born. Like I do think like obesity and stuff is a problem, and that's from an eating thing, and you can fix that. Like I'm not saying I do think that can be fixed, but I'm not gonna like just overly like target people for things. And it's like I just also don't feel like being a shitty person. I feel like some people just
Really,
get
that's
up.
my favorite pastime.
I think some people just get up
I'm good now.
and they just want to be like mean to people. Like,
No.
and I don't really get it.
Eh,
Like
they're just
I just-
miserable.
it is, and I think it's something when people aren't happy with themselves, they look to others to attack. And I've gotten to a spot.
100%.
I've got to a spot like think about all the people that are sitting on a couch that are dogging on athletes like on TV.
Yeah.
That not one of them could go out there and do any of that.
Right.
When they're like,
They played
Mahomes,
JV in
Mahomes
senior year.
sucks. I'm like, yeah, $500 million.
Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah.
Dude's
Did you see
trash.
that guy drop that
Like,
pass?
I would like to
Did
see you go out there and do that. Like for sure. You would get bent
Yeah.
over and folded in half on the
Yes.
first
Or,
play
like,
and be in the hospital.
Couldn't even memorize the 120 offensive
I-
routes that you were supposed
I
to run.
really,
no
like
chance.
he
Yeah.
gets hit sometimes. I'm like, I'm really glad I don't do that. I'm like,
Yeah.
my couch
Like, you know
is
what? I'm
pretty.
comfortable with my
yeah, my
not
house
$500
is-
million.
Listen,
House is
Monday morning
comfortable.
quarterback is the best kind of quarterback.
Yeah, sometimes my back hurts a little bit getting up in the morning. I didn't even do anything, so let alone doing that. But
Wait, let's get back to the 12-year-old YouTuber.
Oh yeah.
Is it- hold
Oh,
on.
I'm like,
Circle
hold on,
back.
I gotta get back.
We gotta
to
bring that
what
full
were you
circle.
even doing?
So we did a variety of things. Actually, parkour. We considered it.
Yo, I need the
Yeah.
footage.
Gotta go.
I need the footage.
Parkour.
Well, that's what we put in the
Like,
title.
My cat does
question,
that.
Yeah.
question.
Can you
what
can you
did-
still do it?
what- it's still out there. What
It's
did
still up.
you
It's still up.
parkour in Clay Center?
Just like some
What's
little
Clay
fences
Center?
and shit.
You
Yeah.
said, what's Clay Center?
Just like a little safety roll. Nothing crazy.
Just some fences and shit.
I need the
Any
footage.
hay bales? Like,
Yes, actually.
Shut up.
Clay Center had fences and hay bales.
I grew up in a town like that.
Yeah, we thought we had a different
did.
take on parkour because
Yeah.
it's hay bales, but I guess not.
Because
So, hold on.
turns
Doesn't-
out, so did half the world.
Yeah, guess what? It didn't get any traction.
No,
Did you have cowboy boots on during
Turns out I
this?
don't live in
No
LA and
cowboy
then $10
boots.
million
No cowboy
home.
boots.
No.
that would have been good.
Reframe.
Oh no! So,
Reframe that
He
question.
goes,
yeah.
insert
Yeah,
cricket.
yeah. Dre with shitty questions over here. But go on.
So it went from parkour and then into like some funny skits and stuff that we acted out. And then I had a different. I
12
had a
years
friend.
old.
Yeah, it was weird.
What a
Went
bunch
through
of
like
nerds.
a whole fitness thing, moto vlogging, whole 9 yards. I do have a friend that was actually successful on YouTube
Good for him.
and actually does that as his job, as a knife channel, Metal Complex. That's who Dre was talking about.
He's been on the podcast.
He has been on the
A
podcast.
knife?
Yeah.
So he sits in his basement and talks
He
about.
sits in his basement with knives. Who
That's
is this
that's
guy?
actually Steve 6969.
That's
That's the guy.
This all
That's the
makes
guy.
sense.
Yeah, now it's
He's
coming back
pissed.
It all makes sense.
He has like 700,000 subscribers.
So does Steve 69.
Yeah, right.
No,
Call
Steve
me with
69,
something more
69 had
impressive.
0 subscribers.
So
Yeah.
he's
We're on to you,
crushing it on
Steve.
YouTube.
You son of a
Yes,
bitch.
yeah,
What if this whole time it was Dre? Dre is Steve 69.
Probably.
Dre always catches strays. Dre's always
Wanted
catching
to
the
tell me
shot.
this shit his whole life. He's like, you know, it's my time.
Fuck your
He's like,
taco review.
Wait, I'm sitting there eating Chips Ahoy. He's eating Chips Ahoy. And then
You're
we're
like, we
just-
are similar.
Just on YouTube, though. It's just on YouTube.
So really, I haven't. Our ads will get some backlash on Facebook by like old
man.
people that they think that like they can say stop sending this, like
Oh,
the,
no.
the ad won't be there anymore. I'm like, you just triggered it to come along.
You doing that
You
made
just
it
engage with
worse.
it, so the retarget ads are gonna
Right.
dump on you.
You just pressed the button when we told you not to press
Yeah,
the
I was
button.
like,
Right.
that didn't help. And then they'll like comment in just like one after another, like telling us to stop. I'm like, that's out of my control.
And
You're
then they
gonna-
go, parkour.
yeah, you're gonna have to call somebody else. Call support.
Oh
But-
my God, the parkour.
Okay,
Bill's
I do have
killing
one
me.
question though. So
Okay.
Only question.
That's it.
Alex gets one. He had
He's
Yeah,
gonna wait
yeah.
for his time
Cut
to
him
show.
off.
he had 12 prepared. I said you get one. Okay, but to that point though, we've talked about this before, but I do think it's important for people to hear is like you, young, attractive woman
Oh God.
in sports,
Yeah.
like it's a topic. Like,
That's
what is that- what is that
that's
like?
a whole other element. And like I said, I'm very fortunate with the athletes that I work with, and there's a reason I don't work with a lot of others. And I mean, I will say, like, thank God I'm a strong female, and I'm the oldest at the table,
Yes.
so super wise.
Flip. There it
Yeah.
is. Caught that.
And no, but honestly, it is kind of a problem. I feel like being taken seriously as a female in general is sometimes hard, and I'm not a feminist by any means, but I'm saying, like, there are a ton of things men should do that I think I shouldn't. But I should get respected, you know? Like,
There's a baseline.
yeah, I mean, that's asking for a lot, I get, but I mean, it is, and I get it. I don't get it. I'm not giving this as like an excuse, but like, say you're 22, 23, you don't really come from anything, and you're handed millions of dollars. You have this new arrogance about you, and you just think, go ahead, shoot your shot on whoever you want, and the shot is crazy. I mean, it's like a full court psychotic shot, and I'm like, sorry, what? And like, no, please tell me you were gonna unsend that message. No,
Nope.
they don't.
Nope. Didn't
Yeah.
unsend.
It didn't unsend. They
Yeah.
said full send, actually. So,
They said another one's like, did you see my message?
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, if I go in vanish mode, will this get there?
Right.
And I'm like, no. No, but I mean, that does present a massive problem. And at the end of the day, like, I am who I am. Like, I am young. Like, I'm not gonna dress like a grandma. Like, you know, and
Mhm.
I just, it's hard because it gets a little, it's sad, right? Like, I called my dad once, I'm not gonna say any names, position, anything, everything, nothing, not even league, but I had an athlete say some off the wall shit to me last year, and it was like, I thought I was about to get into that space, and then I realized the only reason they were trying to get a hold of me. And I called my dad, which was the wrong person to call about it. Like, a Sicilian
Like
father.
all the people, dad.
I said, Dad. No, God damn it. I'm sorry, Dad. No, but I called my dad because I was just like, I don't know who else to talk to. Like, I am literally just trying to make a living, and I am being totally devalued and sexualized, and it was really hard. Like, it took me a moment to like kind of recover from that mentally, and I'm like, are they all like that? Like, is that why all of my athletes work with me? You know, and then you take a moment and you're like, no, fuck it, that guy's crazy. Like, he came out of nowhere. He said, full court shot.
Yeah.
Really went for it. And not all of them are like that. And I do have athletes that will put them in their place. And I'm very fortunate. Like, my athlete roster that I work with, there's, like I said, a strong reason I work with them. They're all so respectful and so kind to me. Damn, that is a thing. And then honestly, like, that is a reason why it's taken me so long to hire people. Like, I trust myself. Someone can shoot their full court shot, and I'm like, fine, you know?
Mhm.
And I'm like, no, call me when you actually like want to make money, because I'm trying to make you money, not spend your money. So careful. And but you know, like, obviously hiring someone, I'm not paying them what I make. Like, I'm the business owner, and they're gonna be younger. So then you're like, oh shit, I'm bringing in most of the time young females, and you have young athletes, and you're like, oh God, they've got my name on them, and this guy's shooting. I know he's gonna shoot a shot, you know. And so you're like, I don't know if I can trust a young female. And what, I can't be like, oh, you're hired because you're ugly. You know, like,
This
That's
is like-
crazy because that's
this-
exactly what Dane said to me.
Yeah, I
That's
said,
exactly
Alex,
what he
you're
said.
on.
like, my team is a bunch of cute girls. Like, we're 4 cute girls, and it's like, now I'm like, that is also like, I've been really hesitant to introduce them into the space. Like, you know, I'm like, okay, you're all behind the scenes, and then I start putting them in front of the athletes, and I'm like watching like really hard.
So you got to mother your athletes and mother your employees.
And I'm
your mother
so
goose
annoying,
hovering.
I'm sure.
Yeah, your
No,
helicopter
So
parent.
I'm a helicopter parent. I'm a pain in the ass, but it's like my name now is on that.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, I'll tell people like all the time, and I tell people about like Madison is very dominant in the real estate space, does a phenomenal job. Like, I actually think females have a lot bigger lever to pull.
Because they're pretty.
Yes. And it's because
pretty privilege.
A good-looking female can open more doors than a male because
Technically, you're stronger. You can.
What? Yeah, if we're going to the scientific route. But what I'm saying is there is a level that males carry that's just like defensive wall in front of them all the time, that there's a lot more to break down to get through, which I tell, like, when I came out of college, what Madison was doing, I was working in the car space. I'm like, you're better looking than me. You're a lot smarter than me. I go, you have everything going for you. Go do something fucking else. I'm like, you should be able to compete with me. It's the same thing I look at as like most of the time I think the only thing, and I'm not saying this in a negative way whatsoever, the only thing that gets in a female's way faster than a male is emotions.
Oh, I don't have those, so that's really good.
But the thing is, most of the time, if you find a female that doesn't let their emotions control them, majority of the time they can do really well in business, and they can do really well stepping themselves up if they don't let something.
Not relationships though.
But
I'm single with a cat.
Hey,
it's just a position that like
Feel that.
I think men are better at like masking emotions and like not wearing them on their sleeves, and like I look at it as like I have business decisions, but I have to separate emotionally to make those decisions. Do I want the best for everyone? Yes, but I also can't let my emotions control me. And I think I see that's the biggest fault that I see females make is they have all the right tickers going for them, but they'll make a decision based off of emotion, not based off of what needs to be done. It's like the same thing. Like you have somebody throw off the wall shot and everything like that. And it's like the first trigger is emotion. And then after you think through it, you're like, fuck him. Like I'm on to the next deal. Like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm really good at what I do, but it's like, that's the emotion that sometimes people will hold that, and like females will hold it for a long time. Like
I held it for like an hour. I got over it quick.
But it's like the faster you can register to do those things, like that's, I think, and we work with a lot of successful females. I know a lot of very successful females, and it's like they can move mountains so fast when they get that like confidence to them, and they get that where they say, hey, I know I have these emotions and I know how to control them. Game on. So it's like they can just bust through walls one after another because they don't have that defensive wall to start with that a male has in front of them every single time. Like females are proven to be better on phones. Females are proven to be better at sales. Females are proven to be better at all these things. But it's like, realistically, like,
I mean,
but most of the time female just positions it in their head in the front side that it's like, that they have these roadblocks, but it's really just emotions, I think, kicking in. And I could totally be wrong. I'd be speaking out.
Well, I'd say that there's also a lot of guys.
That's just my opinion.
And this goes across the board here, but there's a lot of guys who will wear their heart on their sleeves. They let their emotions jump in. I think that is just something that you can lean into the women's side, but across the board, men, women, whatever, is that when you don't have the discipline to manage emotions, feelings, knee-jerk reactions, thought without filter, or like filter to say, hey, let me stop and reassess if I really think that, or if that's like what I think I'm supposed to say in this moment. And then those are the kind of people that typically do better, are the ones who say like, let me take myself, step back, get a 10,000 foot view of this situation, and then I'll make a decision. Then I'll have an emotion on it, but I'm not going to let somebody else's, the way they talk to me, control how I feel. Yep. Like you talk about this a lot. It's like nobody else's feelings are going to affect my feeling. No one else has control over my emotion.
No one, I don't give that to anybody. And like, no one is able to control my day. And like Madison doesn't even have that control. And it irritates her sometimes. And she's like,
I mean, I can see why.
But she's like, she goes, you can't have a bad day. She goes, nothing upsets you. She's like, nothing can get in your way. And I'm just like, I go, it's not worth it. I was like, I died driving home today. I was like, I want to have a good last day. If this is I don't know when that clock is punched. I'm like, but it's like too many people let someone else, and they give someone else
For
the
sure.
keys to their
Yeah.
life that it's like,
No, like literally give them.
they're
Yeah.
like, I hate that person. I'm like, you have wasted
And you're
a
dating them.
week of your
Yeah,
life.
right. Yeah. And you live
For
together.
like 3 years. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But it's like people will give someone else the keys that they may not even know very well. It could be somebody they work next to.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, you gave someone else the keys to your life that you don't even like. Like,
Yeah.
that you just work next to.
Well, and I would say like
like-
with my brother's diagnosis, my perspective on everything has changed.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
absolutely.
come at me when you have a real problem. Like if someone's bitching about something, I was like, okay, go home and sleep it off. Like
Yeah.
you'll be fine. Or like, people are like dying. Like,
Yeah.
my perspective has changed. So I'm kind of with you. Like I don't let anyone really affect my mood, basically, except my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, people just let too many little tiny things affect.
Yep.
That did affect me though last year for about an hour, but I
it's-
got over it.
when you start looking at like
Yeah.
what real problems is, like we've talked about in the last few podcasts, that there's a podcast I listened to like 3 weeks ago that was about a guy that I was listening to it in bed, and Madison's like, why are we listening to this? And it was like she was not having it. But
No, was
this,
it sad?
No, this guy lost
Yeah.
his wife, his
Yeah.
daughter, his brother. Like, it was literally the saddest thing. I'm sitting in bed. I'm like, what's wrong with me? I was like,
These damn onions.
yeah. And I'm sitting there, and Madison's like, why are you listening to this? I was like,
you chose that.
I go, if I think, and I had like 5,000 things going on at work at last, like 3 weeks ago. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't have real problems. I go, the problems that I have like positioned in my head, not that big of a deal.
Yes.
No, they're really
I was
not. Like,
And it's just sometimes I think you need to be humbled back down to like, and I think a lot of people wait till it's something that happens personally in their life till they ever find it. And it's like, I look at it as like, we have enough things out there to like mentally go listen to those things, go listen. And it's not being in a bad way. It's how to reframe your mind day over day to say, hey, okay, when I have all these things going on, they can build up. And it's like, I know I have the shoulders to carry it all. But then sometimes it's like, I'm not listening to that person's story because I want to go listen to something sad.
yeah.
I'm listening to that to kind of reframe my problems that they're not as big as I'm making them out to be.
That and just like motivation. Like it's not the, yeah.
And that's one thing that you and I bonded over too, is just like once you have a sibling put in that situation and it's either like losing them or facing a terminally ill situation, to where it just completely shifts all the things that you thought were awful before, all of a sudden you're like, who gives a shit?
Right.
It's so irrelevant.
Like
to
I get to go work
things.
out. I
Yeah.
literally get to go run if
I can
want.
actually move. I can pick up my arm and put it on this table
Yeah, I
right
can
now,
text
and
if
I
wanna
can
text.
I
Yeah.
can actually do
Hold
that.
a drink.
Just open my mouth and have a conversation. Those are just those things to where then when people are like, oh, I got stuck in traffic today. I was
Fuck
10
you and your
minutes
traffic.
late. Like,
Yeah.
fuck your traffic.
Yeah, I'm like, you got here, didn't you?
Right.
Yeah.
You're
So
still
then-
breathing. Yeah.
So then when people start having those problems, then, you talked about like, even with your situation,
It can make you kind of bitter though in certain cases like that.
And then it comes down to reframing though. I think that it's like you frame it the way you want to. Is like, I know that to me, everything's a +1. Like I get an extra day.
Yeah,
I get
that's
extra
true.
stuff. I get more of it. So like when people come into the office and they're distraught because we're behind on this thing, we'll figure it out.
Well, you're like literally like everyone's
It's-
alive, everyone's moving.
We're gonna be fine. Hey,
Yeah.
listen, we have all these smart people in this building right now. I can assure you,
a
we'll
rock
be
nerd.
okay.
You're
We've
good
got
to
a rock
go.
nerd. We've got a YouTube
Noel
nerd.
also has a job.
Stop. Is that a requirement at your company?
We were roommates through college, so
Yeah.
He's like, no.
Yeah. Rocky business here.
Yeah.
Masters in bad jokes. Anyways, point is though, between all these people, we can figure it out. How about we all just chill the fuck out?
Yeah, no, I like that.
Like-
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And quit shooting crazy shots.
yeah.
That's crazy because my phone is not on silent, and I'm not getting any crazy shots. I don't know if the athletes just don't have
Were
mine.
you at 1% earlier? Is your phone even still alive?
Actually, it is on 2%. I'm
Yeah.
just saying to all the athletes that know G, that's crazy. She has my Instagram. Wow, that's wild. I got no DMs.
I'm not opening mine.
That's wild. Let's open hers.
No.
Let's do a side by side.
Mm-mm.
No.
Anyways, catch
Wait,
you next
actually,
episode.
I'm like, wait, let me see. It's not bad right now. We're good.
I won't name any names.
Yeah.
Tyga.
Actually,
That's crazy.
Actually, it was funny. You sent me a screenshot one time, and I was like, all right, chill out, blue check marks. She sent me a screenshot of her DMs one time, and it was like 1 or 2 people did not have the blue checks, and we're not talking about people that paid for the blue checks. We're talking about real blue checks. Dre just comes out of right fucking field.
It's a good thing he doesn't have a mic over there.
Right.
My job is people with check marks, so that's unfair.
Yeah.
It is funny though.
Same. All right.
Good name.
You just go, everyone in here fucking nerds. What do you mean we're
I
nerds?
feel
I'm
like
also a nerd.
I've
I
been
was a
targeted.
math and stats
Lean
I
into
feel like
it,
we've
lean
been
into it.
targeted, but
I am a total
I feel like we're all
nerd.
targeting each
I'm
other.
in the Astronomy Hall of Fame at my college. Like, I am legitimately a nerd.
that's a thing.
I need that. I need to see that.
I feel like
Alex called bullshit.
I feel like this table
they
is just
spelled
equal.
my name wrong. Oh
Equal-
my god.
equal
It's a
opportunity
different-
offenders.
It's a different girl.
They spelled your name wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. Giovanna Caponetto.
Actually,
Yeah,
I will
it's
say
another one.
I got an award
One
in
letter
college
off.
and they spelled my name wrong too. They
Wait,
spelled,
UMKC Astronomy Hall of Fame is my Google right now.
oh, we're right down the street. I'm gonna go in person to validate this.
It's in Florsheim Hall. Go ahead.
Okay, the fact that you named the hall that it's in makes me feel like it might be real.
Might be real.
We're still going. We're still going.
Easy Google search away. She can't.
Logan,
find
we're
it.
going to lunch tomorrow, and this is part of the trip.
Yeah.
We're going
You
through.
I
guys,
don't remember
you
what
guys
it
need a
We're doing a
document going
check.
around. I'm here. I'm videoing it. I'm not
Star-
seeing it.
It's called Star
Got it.
Hall of Fame.
It's a Star Hall of Fame. All
Star
right.
with 2 R's.
And that was tonight's episode of the M3 podcast. Thank you and good night.
That's something
What?
no one knows about me.
Oh, that was a quick tip. Hey, if you're an athlete, you're looking for somebody that's
You want to shoot your shot?
Yeah.
Come in with your favorite.
Jump into the Star Hall of Fame. We'll do your astrological signs, and then we'll talk about brand ambassadorship.
And then how much you're gonna pay me?
Just don't fly Delta, you son of a bitch.
That sounds like a match made in heaven.
That does.
Yep.
All right.
Or Delta. I love Southwest. Don't talk shit.
Yeah.
Steve 6969 coming
That's
back
my
again from
guy.
right field talking shit.
That's my guy.
We'll get Dre's shirt that has that on from now on. He has to wear every time.
We have to find a really good profile photo, though. Wow. Wow, guys.
All right.
You're welcome for tonight's entertainment.
For real. This has been, I mean, I think we've covered all bases. If somebody has listened to this and hasn't laughed at all, they
You have
belong
no
in a
humor.
padded
Yeah.
room.
It's just fucking Steve. It's really just him.
It's
He's the only
definitely
one.
Yeah.
It's definitely Steve.
Yeah, he's like, this was a stupid episode.
Or the athlete that shot his full court shot. He's like,
He's
fuck
gonna be
that
mad.
girl.
Yeah.
He's gonna be
He's
mad.
like, this
He's gonna be
bitch
mad.
calling me out.
I'm assuming he's probably not listening to it, but.
But
Nice.
say his name right now. 3, 2, 1, go. Listen, we can do the censored
Yeah.
bars.
Absolutely not.
And then they have to pay you to know who it was.
Ooh.
Yeah,
We get a
we're
tr-
gonna
we get
put
a
one
That's
of
like,
12%
that's
cut.
the only fans I would do.
those- We'll do like
I will spill the
I
tea.
will drop the names.
we're gonna do like a censored thing over Alex's eyes the whole time, like he's some celebrity, so people don't know who he is.
You know, I do have the body of a pro athlete. I get that a lot.
Wait, actually, same. Lo always makes me get in the photos with the girls, and they're like, just make them look you up on the roster.
Listen,
Evil.
Yeah.
Wait, that's what I said
I'm
I
a
wanted to
big-
go to the Olympics for. I
big
practiced with my
pickleballer.
friends at her house.
Big pickleball guy.
big pickleball guy over here.
No,
Just,
you had
yeah,
to play paddle.
yeah.
Paddle.
Yeah, that.
Paddle. The sporting guys opened it around.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that was a new thing. It was like 2 of your athletes.
They didn't even pay me to plug that. No, there's like 4 people.
4 of them.
She's invoicing him right when she's
For sure.
She's like, hey, I just got off
You're welcome for
podcast.
the
I
plug.
did drop that. I'm gonna need my check.
Hey, you didn't ask for this, but anyway.
Yeah, we could definitely sit here and talk all night. So, what? Any final thoughts?
Open forum. You got
Open forum.
a
Scared of
hot
cows.
mic.
Thoughts? Yep.
Hot mic. Is there anything we like to do like a like 60-second sound off too? Like
Of
anything
what?
you want to sound off on?
Well, I need a
She's already
topic.
targeted airlines, us.
I'm a pretty nice person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very easy going.
Yeah, I'm gonna go inside and read my books about rocks. When I go.
Very easy going unless
What
you're
a
a fucking
fucking
nerd.
I love nerds.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, all of us feel really loved when you're like, Leslie's a fucking
I am
nerd.
a nerd. Like, I just am not a rock nerd.
Equal opportunity offender.
Yeah.
I just feel like a rock nerd is different.
Oh,
Like, what did you
we're
study?
different.
Like, what did you study? Like dinosaur fossils? Like,
Okay, you know what?
We
That's
went
my
to
kind of
Spain for-
nerd.
That's
I'd
fun.
be
Like,
down.
Yeah.
I'd
count
be down
me
for
in.
those
We
rocks.
went mapped up in the Pyrenees Mountains for.
were you
six
in
weeks.
Jurassic World?
I don't think that's where it was filmed.
Costa Rica. I was there.
But
Swinging
just-
from trees.
we're not getting any decent final thoughts of Alex over here.
Okay, sorry, fine.
Why
What do we
am I the fucking problem?
What? It's all your fault because you studied marketing.
You sound like my
Psycho.
ex. It's always my fault. And that is going on the censored bar. Add me to
Final
that.
thoughts.
Final
Okay.
thoughts.
Let's see. Final thoughts. You know what I hate? The
What?
question.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in a few years?
He's over there. He's going.
that what
he's
you were
going
gonna
like,
ask me?
He's going like, if I'm you, right? Wait.
Is that what you're gonna ask me?
No.
Fuck no.
Steve 69
Stupid
69 is
question.
signing out for the night. No, actually, I do love that question.
She just said she.
You keep going left and then
No,
zag
I
right.
hate it.
You
I
snip, snap.
I hate
Pick
the
one.
question, but the reason I love the question is because I love the unknown. And I feel like every time I've tried to plan what's going to happen,
Never happens.
it's like bullshit. You know? And it's like my life is so unknown. There are times where I'll sit on the couch and I'm like, so if I lose this client, like, am I gonna be able to pay my employees? Like, no. But the fact that like I have no idea what is going to come to me. Like today I got an email asking to spend $80,000 with one of my clients, and I was like, I didn't ask for that. Like I didn't have to reach out to them. So it's like knowing that the unknown has better things in mind for me than I even know what to expect is so beautiful. So I don't even plan for what's to come, and I love that. So sorry about your 5-year plan. Maybe, you know what? I would like to either have a second cat or a dog, maybe a human.
Maybe.
As
and
a
then
pet, or because you listed off pet, and then human. So I just want to make sure we're here on the same page here.
Maybe
No,
like-
listen, Nate. You whatever you're into, you're into it.
This
we're
is
not
my
getting
pet,
into that
Steve.
conversation.
Listen, you said pet person.
You
I don't
what?
know.
A pet person, maybe a human to share my life with, and then
Okay.
like just a lot of millions and yachts.
Anything else objective, other than the people in the yachts?
No, I think I'm good. I think I'm good just having everything being unknown. Like trying to plan, I'm over that. Like I'm just gonna take what life throws.
You know what you
me.
figure out really fast when a company starts moving and starts scaling? What used to take us one day to get done at, or what used to take us a month or 2 months to get done at MMG.
Can get done in a night.
Yeah, now
Like
happens
I
at,
have
like,
to go home and
really,
write two
like,
proposals and send
it's
out.
done in like a day. Now it's like,
Yeah.
Or used to be, I'm like, oh shit, I need to send out like 4 proposals that this company reached out, and I was taking like 2 or 3 days to get done. And then it's like, oh, we have to go shoot this content. Now, like the movement that happens in a day, I'm like, we got how many shoots done today, and how many proposals went out, and how many sales meetings, and how many new hires? Like all of a sudden, like the movement becomes so fast that when I figured everything in the beginning, when I had that, like, I don't operate daily like from a very calculated position, but like I'm a very calculated person where I'm going. I had like the 1, the 3, the 5. I'm like, this is exactly what it looks like. Then I get here. So it was all figured off my time, like of how many hours I had in a day. Now with like 25 people, it moves a lot faster. And then it's just like the scalability of it that we're sitting there mathing everything out like as a group.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, once we hit 100 people, like then we could do X, Y, and Z. And now we have never had
And
sales.
then you're like paying for 100 people is.
But like
Multiple locations.
that's where like when you're
Yeah.
looking at it all though, too many people like in business when they start scaling up, they're like they're trying to keep the lion's share all the time to themselves, and I think that's the fastest thing that cripples companies. I've never went after the lion's share of what MMG made or makes, and I'm always going after for a very small percentage, but it's like my percentage only goes up as the whole entire company moves forward. But it's like all those resources and additional money just keeps dumping back into scale.
Right.
So it makes scalability a lot faster. For most people, the second they start getting a taste of that money, it's like, I'm bathing in it at home. Like, but it's just like my deal is I dump it right back in as fast as I possibly can. Like, it'd be really easy to say, hey, let's max out our current office location. Dane can take home a bunch of money. And then we just stay here. We just pack in like sardines. Like, when you're pulling the trigger on all this office space and you're looking at another $100,000 to get that office space done, and you're like looking at all these like moving pieces, that's really easy to look at to keep in a personal side, like that you want to take from it. But then it's like the business side, the reward of that unknown. That's like, we've never had sales to this point. We're starting a whole sales division. That's why we're getting a second location to roll out on sales. Like, we're going nationwide. We're doing all these different things. But it's like, do I know what that looks like? Absolutely not. We're sitting there, hire 10 girls to sit there and call all day, every day. Like, we have 1,000 phone calls coming out of MMG every day. Like, if they're closing at 5%, that's 50 deals a day. We're like, oh, what do we do with an extra 50 deals? Like, that fast.
Right.
Like, the movement becomes so fast to trying to keep up with it, and just there's always problems or just different problems, and they're unknown. And it's just like being able to adapt and keep up and say, hey, like, I don't know what tomorrow brings. But it's like, it becomes the norm where so many people like want this, like, I don't want to say comfort, because I feel like our whole leadership group kind of goes through it together. Like, I've kind of like brought them in that it's like, hey, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing, but we all none of us know what we're doing. Let's do it together. Like,
going with confidence, we're going to figure it out.
But I also I used to be really hard-headed about making all decisions myself. And if I can give one word of advice, like, when you get those A players around you, listen to them. I see business owners all the time that it's like, you're going to get rock stars that start stepping around. And it's like, do I have the final say? Yes. Yeah. But also I have a lot of people around me that are a lot smarter than me, that I can't always see what their outcome is, but I know that they still want the best for the company and the movement. So sometimes I just have to go into it blindly, saying I trust what they're doing too. Which was like,
which is what your clients are doing. They're kind of blindly trusting you.
Yeah, on that side, it's a lot easier because we have like case studies. We have like all this different stuff that like there is a tangible side.
You working with them.
But like with we have enough, like, early days, it was kind of like, hey, bet on me. Like, now it's like we got a pretty big track record. We got a lot of clients behind us. Like, the scalability of the sale now is 1,000 times easier than it's ever been. And it's more so the confidence in the decisions from the people around me that I don't have to fully know the outcome of their decision, where it used to be like I was a control freak. I had to everything
until this year.
Everything had to be like my choice, my decision. And there was a point that I even thought I was getting better at it. And still, I'll probably look back at Dane now, a year from now, I'm like, damn, I really
what an idiot.
bogged down a lot of things. Like, I was the problem. That I look back at all the equations of MMG as it's scaled. The biggest problem in all of them has been me. And I don't think a lot of people ever get out of their own way to let rock stars be rock stars. And that's where it's like, you're going to start getting all these people. And it's like, I watch business owners all the time. I'm like, get out of your own way. Just get out of your own way. I'm like, if you could just step one step to the right and let the people around you win, the world's yours.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're in a space that the opportunity that's out there is huge. Like, I look at it as like the difference between 19 to 200 athletes is like that fast.
Yeah, but like, I don't want that many.
If you bring in the early days, I was like, I want to get to a certain amount of accounts. And it's like, then I was like, one more. My deal is why we're putting a sales side in. I almost feel like it's a disservice now that we don't help more people. That as it's like scaled, and as early days, I was like, how do I put more A players that I knew my brother, I knew Dalton, Logan was.
Where's my delivery? That's wild.
Then there was Logan, and then I had a buddy from high school.
That's
and then it's like I meet Ricky and Lauren. It was just like everyone I knew. Like, I was like, how does this scale out of like people I don't know? Like, how does that happen? And I'm like, I'm gonna have to like post job listings and doing all this shit. And then I was like, as we progress, all of a sudden, just like the right place, right time. People just started lining, like things just started falling into place. And I was like, I had people come in the office all the time. They're like, how have you got so many like A players in one spot? I'm like, I don't really know how to like, we're very active on social and people see it all the time. And then they reach out and they're like, what? Like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
no, same.
I go, we have like 30 to 50 people a month reach out that want to work for us. And they're like,
Same.
I've been paying $5,000 a month on Indeed and I don't got shit. I'm like, I don't have an Indeed.
Then you need our services.
Yeah.
It's funny how many people like what you're doing online is like, it's an attractive, fun space to be in.
Yeah.
Like, it's that job that
But
it's
people don't see the behind
They don't
the
see the
scenes.
ugly.
Yeah,
they don't see the ugly.
they don't see all that.
They
part of
don't
it.
see the 5,000 no's a day.
They see the flights. They see the being at cool
games,
places.
the sidelines.
The celebrities. They see
Mhm.
that, of course.
Yeah, they don't know what it takes. But,
No, it takes a lot.
I don't want 200 athletes, and I promise you that I don't. Because I want to, and maybe like in 10 years, if probably not, but if I were to sell my company, then I'd be like, go ahead and get the 200 athletes. But I really want to stay involved, and maybe it's the caliber of athlete that I take on, and I keep it between 30 and 40.
What happens when that rock star comes to you that she flies in one day, she's with so-and-so, she lives in Dallas, and she's like, what if we open up a Dallas location? And I have connections to these 15 people that we could run the same thing. You have the roadmap now to duplicate it.
Well,
And it's like, and that's what I'm saying. The world happens in weird ways. That like,
if we could go off the record, I'll tell a story.
but we go off the record after.
Whenever we close out, I want to hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
it's
yeah.
But no, I mean, I want to stay in the face for a while.
Yeah.
Like I want to be the representation of my brand for a while.
Yeah.
I did have a crazy phone call about trying to buy my company from a very well-known athlete agent, and I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
Actually, I guarantee you I'll never be ready, but I mean,
my deal is like,
oh, hold on. Wait, say that again one more time.
Speaking it into existence, you want to throw me $1 billion, then I'm out. But otherwise, you'll see a whole lot of me.
but that was the same thing. Like we've started getting like private equity offers and things like that on the company that I never developed it to offload it. Like that was never my intention. Like my intention was to build something that I enjoy going to work every day. And I get a lot of.
I never feel like I'm working.
Yeah, this is work for me.
And I work
like,
literally 24 hours a day.
The wild thing is like when we do this Wednesday night, like this is classified as work. Yeah. Like as crazy as that is,
I
like
counted this at work today. It's not work.
But it's
I mean, it is, but
creating content. Like we have all these other podcasts that are taking place at the office now. That we have all these internal podcasts. Like I look at the people that go apply to work at Barstool day in and day out. Like realistically, my business model is like a hybrid between what Gary Vee and Dave Portnoy's built. And it's like if we can run something right down
to make some real money then.
And it's like if we can run right down the middle of those two, like it hasn't been done yet. And it's like we're not trying to knock off Barstool. And I'm not trying to knock off Gary Vee, but it's like they both have a lot of good points in what they do. If we can take a piece of what they've done here and a piece of what they've done here and put it right together in the middle.
It's sprinkle a little icing of Alex Ramosi in there.
Yeah. But it's like you follow a lot of those guys that it's, and I think some people read and they follow people and then they try to do the exact same thing. That's like, once again, be your own self.
Right.
You can read and you can listen to people and take pieces of it to then make it your own. But I think you're very much on the right track of what you're doing. I think you have a great business. And I mean, we're in a similar business line in what we do.
Yeah.
And yours is, I like the athlete side. I like what you're doing with it, and you're doing it from the right forefront.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm so grateful it is where it is because I legitimately had nothing. Like I went, I'm doing it.
That's the most fun part. Like it's going into something, having no earthly idea, leveraging everything. Like, and I leveraged every single bit of my life to make MMG a reality. And it was like, at 25 years old, I actually had quite a bit already. Like I'd done pretty well in the work space.
If you were in the car world,
yeah,
you made so much money. It was stupid.
But like like Dre and I did well, and it was like, so we had some capital, but it was like, I mean, that went a lot faster than I thought it was going to. So then I was
so
like,
fast.
So then I was like, oh, we got equity in the house. Take that too. I'm like, and Madison's like, thought I was fucking nuts, but at the end of the day, she's like, I believe in everything that you do, and it was just like, now where we're at and like the problems and everything that we take on and the movement is just, it's fun. Like, and that's, I can tell you're having fun doing it too, which is like the most important part. Just keep enjoying
having
it.
fun and just tired.
Yeah. That's comes with the space.
Coffee and lack of sleep.
We run like what, 10, 12 cases of energy drinks a week.
I probably account for a third of those.
Of energy drinks?
Yes.
Is your heart okay?
Probably.
Do you think Ferraris run on low octane fuel?
Few of them out there.
Yeah. Does it
you
go
ask people
fast?
what they want to do in 5 years?
Hopefully survive all of the energy drinks I'm drinking.
I very much appreciate you coming on. I haven't laughed that hard in a second. So
I didn't tell you I'm also a stand-up comedian. No, I'm just kidding. No, thank you so much for having me on.
But no, I appreciate you coming on. Ricky, Alex, appreciate you guys as always.
Thanks for your parkour.
Yep.
All right, Productions PK. Like and subscribe.
Like, subscribe, follow. Even you, Steve.
That's
Even
the
Steve.
plug.
Steve 6969, we're really looking for you.
That's M3 Podcast. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.